And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service on this Friday, July 14th, 2023. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of what I provide in this YouTube briefing, well, you can go to weather.gov. It'll bring you to a map of the continental U.S. with Alaska and Hawaii to the lower left. You point and click anywhere on this map. It'll pull up a forecast with any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories for anywhere in the nation. On the map this Friday afternoon, of note, we still have flood watches for portions of the Northeast. We have air quality alerts for more smoke coming down out of Canada from the extensive wildfires there. Severe thunderstorm watches from just west of Chicago down into areas of the Central Plains, and then all of this orange heat advisories. As we go further west, we have heat advisories and excessive heat warnings. Very dangerous heat, a heat wave out here across the Southwest. We're looking at the potential for Phoenix to hit 120 degrees this weekend. Death Valley could hit 130 degrees. We're talking air temperatures, not feels like. Pure air temperatures, very dangerous heat there in the Southwest. Across Alaska, we did have some warmer, pleasant summer weather across areas of South Central here the past couple of days, but that's coming to an end. We have prolonged weekend rainfall setting up across the Southwest and South Central mainland thanks to low pressure that's going to be taking shape and slow to leave. As we go across the Panhandle, warmer temperatures over the past couple of weeks have led to more in the way of snowmelt runoff. So Suicide Basin, which is a glacier lake just above Juneau, associated with the Mendenhall Glacier, continues to fill. Whether or not it'll release anytime soon, it's something the Juneau Forecast Office will keep a close eye on through the course of this weekend. We've had Canadian wildfire smoke impact the Panhandle this past week. It's still lingering over parts of the northern Panhandle around Haines and Skagway, but it should begin to lift slowly northward here early this weekend. And then finally out toward the tip here of the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians, Mount Shishaldin active. There could be a trace amount of ashfall with that particular volcano here early this weekend, especially near maybe False Pass. But otherwise, looking at the webcams from across Alaska and the far northwest coast, breezy, cool, Wainwright, 46 degrees, northeasterly winds bringing down cooler air and off the Beaufort Sea. Quinhagak there in the vicinity of Kuskokwim Bay, overcast 60. Rain is going to be increasing there as low pressure moves onshore tonight. And that same area low pressure will kind of just sit just on the west side of the Alaska Range much of this weekend and lead to some very wet weather. So as I mentioned earlier, still some smoke from the Canadian wildfires lingering in the northern Panhandle, but that is showing signs of lifting gradually northward early this weekend. One thing, though, there's been extensive scattered thunderstorms across areas of British Columbia and the Yukon. Fortunately, the Panhandle has missed out on that because those scattered thunderstorms are also causing numerous lightning strikes that ignite wildfires. So at least relatively quiet weather expected across the Panhandle this weekend. Back here toward the far west, there's the volcano. As I mentioned, Shishaldin is active, could produce very trace amounts of some ashfall, maybe just there west of Cold Bay. But otherwise, this area highlighted in the light blue is where we expect prolonged rainfall this weekend. Areas of the Southwest, including from Bethel, Aniak, southeastward in through the Alaska Range, northern parts of the Alaska Peninsula, areas surrounding Cook Inlet, including the Kenai Peninsula, Anchorage Bowl, and then up through the Mat-Su Valley. Rainfall amounts of 1/2 to 1 inch will be common, and locally higher amounts of 2 to 3 inches possible if you get any type of upslope flow that can enhance the rainfall. So again, some areas could end up with more, and this is the rain's going to continue starting late this Friday night and especially picking up throughout the day on Saturday, and then really lingering across this region, especially into Sunday. Forecast rainfall amounts through early Sunday morning are indicating rainfall amounts of 1.5 to 2 inches here surrounding areas of Cook Inlet. So again, any sort of enhancement from the terrain, you could see locally higher amounts as well. Also some pretty good rainfall, pretty wet conditions toward Ambler and just west there of Bettles along the south side of the Brooks Range, western central Brooks Range. That means fire danger is going to be kept very low here. This is the outlook for Saturday. Much of the state, much of the mainland, low to very low conditions. The only little spots of higher fire danger where it's been a bit drier is here, just given the weather expected to be dry in the upper Copper River Basin near Glen Ellen. But otherwise, much of the state, at least having that safety margin of lower fire danger. Looking at the satellite imagery, we have couple of weak areas of low pressure down here in the North Pacific, well south-southwest of Haida Gwaii. Back to the north, we have weak low pressure here over the northwest. We also have a low coming into Kuskokwim Bay area, moisture feed. We also have a moisture feed that's pretty much coming up from the North Pacific and will eventually come in up from areas of the Western Gulf as low pressure gets better organized Saturday into early Sunday in this area. We have a piece of energy, a mid and upper level low pressure that's going to drop southeastward. And as it digs southeastward, that's just a favorable situation to enhance the dynamics and lift. And we have moisture in place. That means thicker cloud cover, steadier rains, which I showed you are going to break out in this region as we go through the weekend. So right now, weak high pressure ridge over the northern Gulf, that's breaking down, going away. We have this low pressure here near St. Paul working its way eastward. And then it's going to link up with a mid and upper level system that drops southeastward. So that's just going to get a big old pinwheel of low pressure going here over the southwest quadrant of the state. And that means very wet weather for southwest and south central mainland. And some of that moisture will even spread further northward up into the interior as we go into Saturday and Sunday. Now, the low pressures themselves are not going to be especially strong lows. It's summertime, and that's very often the case. It's more often what's driving things aloft in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere that make for more extensive weather systems in the summertime, with the exception of convection, that is scattered thunderstorms. But by Sunday afternoon, we just kind of have this area of low pressure centered over the southwest, south central area of the state, secondary low trying to form out toward the western Gulf, another lagging low back up toward the just east of the Seward Peninsula. So this is going to be a very wet pattern across the mainland. Areas of the Panhandle will have lows tonight, generally mid-50s. Back to the west, cloud cover thickening, so lows will stay above 50 here across south central. But with the thicker clouds and rain on tap for Saturday into Sunday, we're looking at highs only in the 50s, so cooler than normal temperatures, after some places enjoyed readings in the 70s, especially Thursday afternoon. And then off to the east, there could be some partly sunny skies. A few areas get up around or just above 70 in the southern central Panhandle, including perhaps Wrangell or Peterson. But otherwise, as we get out back to the west on Sunday morning, lows will generally stay just above 50, and highs again Sunday afternoon, 55 to 60 at best. And then down here across the Panhandle, high temperatures in the 60s, could be a isolated 70-degree reading. Throughout the north, along the Yukon River, lows upper 40s near 50, 40s common here, mid 40s along the west side there toward the Bering Strait. Some 30s, though, showing up again along the Arctic coast, northeasterly flow bringing in some colder air along the northwest coast, as I mentioned there at Wainwright earlier. And then temperatures Saturday afternoon, only 34 at Utqiagvik. I might squeak out a 70, 72-degree reading from around Eagle down toward Northway along the Alcan border, but that's it for warm air in the state, at least for the mainland. And temperatures Sunday morning near 50 along the Yukon River, 40s most elsewhere, and then 30s along the Arctic coast. And daytime highs Sunday afternoon may get back up near 70 at Fairbanks, mid to upper 70s Yukon Flats to along the Alcan border. And as you go further west, temperatures along coastal areas, mid 40s to near 50 degrees. And as we look at the southwest interior, lows generally in the upper 40s or so for Saturday morning. Cloud cover will be thickening as the rain increases across this region. And with the rain and thicker cloud cover, highs only in the 50s across all of the southwest, extending down through the Alaska Peninsula. And for Sunday morning, we're looking at lows again, generally 45 to 50 degrees at best. And daytime highs Sunday afternoon confined to the 50s once again up along the lower Yukon and up through the Kuskokwim River basins. Maybe a 60-degree reading at King Salmon, but that would be the warmest temperature in the southwest. Looking farther ahead, as we get toward July 20th through the 24th, there is the potential for above normal temperatures across the mainland, centered on the central interior along the middle Yukon River. So this region here may enjoy a little warmer temperatures. And once we get past this weekend pattern, because this one's going to slow down any type of warm up here, and precipitation may average a bit above normal across east central areas to the Alcan border from Fairbanks to Northway, which would signal perhaps more convective type precipitation. Scattered showers, scattered thunderstorms. That would seem to be the precipitation regime we might expect with this outlook. So stay tuned to later forecasts, but at least it's looking like temperatures should warm across much of the mainland here as we get toward the third week of July.